I bought this rare orange Seat Leon FR for £750.
Which for this car in this paint colour is pretty cheap. The only other one for sale in the UK currently is up for £2,295, and that has more mileage, so why was mine so cheap?
Because when I bought this car, it needed a fair bit of work and love to get back to its former glory.
The roof had been wrapped in a nasty fake carbon wrap. It was missing a fog light surround. It also had an annoying fault on the dashboard for the front daytime running lights, a knock from the front end. Oh, and it also didn't come with any service history. So after fixing all of them issues, I put the car up for sale as I'm trying to flip cars to make enough profit to buy an Audi RS3.
And after a load of interest when I put it up for sale, the car has now sold. So it's time to try and find the next one. Okay, we bought the Seat Leon FR, as you all know, for £750. Now, including the price of the car and the price that it has cost me to fix everything, the total that that car owes me is £854.97, which is an absolute bargain, because I actually sold that car for £1,800, which means the profit that we made on that Seat Leon is £945.03, which I think is an absolute result. That is an absolute result, which also means after just 2 cars we have got in the RS3 fund £1,402.54, which is a pretty good result, I think, for just 2 cars. But we've got to carry on. I want to get to that RS3 as soon as possible. So let's get on the internet, let's have a look, let's have a hunt and see if we can find the next car to fix for a profit.
So as I normally do, I jump straight onto Facebook Marketplace and search spares or repairs. What I want to find is a car that's broken, worth a bit more, that I can buy for cheap, fix and then sell on.
Okay, I've messaged a few people on Facebook and there's a few cars on there that I think would be quite cool to repair and fix. There's also a car that I've been offered on Instagram from one of you guys, which I think is going to be better than all of these on here, but it just depends how much the guy wants for it. The good thing with this one as well is he is literally like 15 minutes away from where I live, so it would be quite convenient. This one is going to need the most work out of any that I've messaged about on Facebook, but I think the more risk, the more reward, so we'll see what he says, and I think it might be worth going to have a look. Okay, we're heading to go and look at a car. It's actually a performance car. It's a Mini Cooper S from 2003, but it's the supercharged engine. It's been off the road for 3 years. It might need a bit too much to make enough profit, but it's worth going to look at it anyway, and it's also only 10 minutes around the corner. So let's go check it out and let's just see if we can maybe get a deal done on it, see what it needs, and well, we'll go from there. Let's go. On this series so far, I've tried to buy the cars and fix them and get them sold in one video, but I think this one is going to take a little bit longer. But with this one, if it does pay off, then I think we could make more money, which in hindsight is the most important thing with this series, is getting to that RS3 as quick as possible. So it should be in the corner. Look at it. Oh, it actually looks quite smart, doesn't it?
I've never owned or even been in a Mini before, so I'm not sure on all the little quirks that these cars have, but it's worth a look.
Here it is. This is a Mini Cooper R53. I'm not clued up on Minis at all. I've never owned a Mini. I've never really been interested in Minis, if I'm honest, but this has come up and I think we can get it at a good price. But it's been off the road since 2022, but it's had a good bit of money spent on it before then. It doesn't run currently. This is a non-runner, so we're going to have to get it trailered to the house. But that being said, it does turn over, I've been told, and it does have compression. It got parked up because apparently the exhaust flexi snapped, so it became really, really loud, and the person that owned it back in 2022 simply stopped driving it because of how loud it was, and he got a company vehicle. So it kind of got left as it is. It's the supercharged engine as well. It's not the French THP 1.6 turbo. This is the supercharged engine, which apparently are pretty bulletproof and pretty robust. But here it is. It's in the all grey as well. Apparently, this is all apparently, because I don't know, they're a lot more rare when they're all body coloured. These are normally either white or black on Minis. But what do you think?
Yeah, I like it.
Quite cool, isn't it? Like, I'm looking forward to actually being able to drive it because it is supercharged. But look how weird the interiors are, and how you've got the rev gauge there and the speedo's in the middle. I don't
like the interior, to be honest.
That's what's always put me off Minis. Like, why is the speedo in the middle? You have to completely take your eyes off the road to look at the speedo. But are they a little bit track orientated with just having the rev gauge there? I don't know, but everyone's told me at some point you need to own a Mini, and I guess we're doing it. It's going to need a new boot lid. This is rotted all the way through, so it's going to need a new boot lid. But I think it's on about 125,000, and so far, looking online, around the same mileage. There's one, I think, on 126,000, and it's up for like 3,250 quid. So if we can get a good bargain on this one, I think we can have some fun with it and also make some profit on it. Yeah, I don't like the interiors. Yeah, the interiors are very basic, very tinny, but I kind of see why people do use them as little trap cars. Let's pop the bonnet and have a look. Is that meant to happen?
That's terrifying.
Oh my god, the lights come up with the bonnet. Oh, how easy is that to change a light? That's kind of cool. So we've got a big intercooler here, and somewhere there is a supercharger, because that's what these engines are. We've got a ram air filter. It looks a little bit battered, in all fairness. It currently doesn't have a battery connected to it. The batteries are in the boot. Apparently the alternator's seized. It needs a new alternator. The alternators are all the way down the bottom here, so it's going to kind of be like a front end off job to change that alternator. But I've never driven one of these. I've never even sat in one of these. They've got the cool little duct kind of intake that goes straight through the bonnet into the intercooler. It's just aged a little bit where it's been sat. What do you think?
Yeah,
quite cool, really. I guess it's a little bit of something to work to, because it's the supercharged kind of performance model of a Mini, instead of it just being, I don't know, a diesel or something like that. And I know these do appeal to a lot of people. The headlights, they're going to need sanding down and bringing back to life. But I think, all in all, quite cool, isn't it?
Right now, for a 2003 Mini Cooper S with around the same mileage, are selling for pretty good money. Especially the ones that have the supercharged engines, as the turbocharged ones weren't very reliable. So if I can try and roughly work out how much it's going to cost me to fix all the issues on this car, then I might be able to buy it and repair it and still make profit. But Georgia wanted to know if this specific car came with the most important feature.
let's see if what I think is in the boot of here is in here. Oh, there's no hair straighteners.
I say what, there isn't.
Battery?
Apparently the batteries are in the boot on these.
Oh yes.
And there is no battery, but it's not rotten.
The boot is tiny.
The boot is tiny. Just needs some proper TLC, doesn't it? Some proper time, love and care.
No, the exterior and the interior is actually quite clean. It's just like mechanical.
Yeah, which...
It's quite... Apparently it's been very looked after.
Oh yeah, which leads me on to the next point.
Good job I'm here.
It's got full service history. And since its last MOT in 2022, it's had all the ball joints done. The headlamp aim's been done, windscreen wipers have been done, coolant pipe, number plates, ABS module. That probably came to a good amount of money. What's that? Oil and filter change, fit GRS intercooler. Is that an aftermarket intercooler? GRS intercooler. I did see a GRS logo somewhere. There, look. Is that an aftermarket intercooler? Is that what that's telling me?
If it is, it looks a bit neglected.
Fit customer supplied KVS 17% pulley. Is it mapped? It must be mapped. Yeah, there's loads of paperwork for loads of stuff. Is this the service booklet? So it's been serviced up to 114,000 miles, so it's full service history. That's brilliant. Yeah.
Toyota.
No, they took it to a real manufacturer.
Oh dear, that's going to upset some people.
I want it. I think we should see if we can come to some sort of deal. It's going to need a lot of money spent. I say a lot, it's going to need a decent amount of money spending on it. A good bit of time. It's also obviously got no MOT at all, so I think as long as we can get it for a good deal, this will be worth the investment, worth the time, worth the effort, and be quite fun when it's finished as well. So yeah, let's see what we can get it for.
And after speaking to its current owner, we managed to come to a deal.
Right, there we go. We've come to a deal. I'll let you know how much I have paid for it a little bit later when we get it back to the driveway. Of course, it doesn't run, drive or anything at the moment, so we are getting it dropped off in the morning. So yeah, I guess we'll go from there.
And a massive shout out to Jamie for actually dropping the car off for me. He's the one that I actually bought the car from, and he offered to include dropping it to my driveway in the buying price. So a massive thank you to him. I'll leave his link in the description down below.
Push it then, boy.
And just like that, I just bought myself a 2003 Mini Cooper S that's supercharged. Let's hope I can fix it.
Okay, here we go. Mini Cooper S. Hopefully we can get this thing back on the road, but the first thing I want to know is why the engine won't start, why this car is currently a non-runner. So I think what makes sense to do first is kind of just check out what the oil looks like, make sure it's actually got decent oil in it. There we go. And maybe just hook up a battery to it and see what it does. Apparently the reason is a seized alternator. The alternator is all the way down here, so the front end has to come off to pretty much do the alternator, which isn't a massive job. I just want to know what it's doing before that. So let's see what the oil is looking like. Yeah, there's plenty of oil in that. Could do with an oil change, but there is oil in that. So I'm going to hook a battery up and see what it does.
Luckily for me, Motorstop are just round the corner with all of the parts that I need, so I ordered a battery last night and it arrived this morning just before the Mini got to the driveway. So I can hook it straight up to the car, and I guess this is the moment of truth. If this car doesn't turn on or it makes an awful noise when it does, I might have bitten off more than I can chew.
We've got power. Shall I try and start it? Can't do no harm, can I? I mean, I guess I need to find out, really. Ready? Okay, it turns over. That's good. That's good news. Okay, there is still life in the engine. What did that sound like it didn't have? I want to check to see if that alternator is actually seized.
To get the alternators off on these cars, you actually have to take off the entire front end, the crash bar, the front bumper, and even move the radiators out the way. But what I can see from the engine bay side is that the alternator looks damaged, and the drive belt also doesn't look like it's done anything in a very long time. So I'm going to get Georgia to go inside the car, turn it over, and I want to see if it actually spins or not.
Okay, stop. I think the alternator's actually exploded.
Nothing. That alternator and that drive belt didn't move a muscle, which makes me think that the alternator is definitely seized. And it was only at this point now where I actually realised that the alternator was damaged and the outer casing had actually cracked. I'm not sure how and I'm not sure why, but we need to get it off. So I'm going to get the car jacked up because I'm going to have to start stripping down the front end to get access to the alternator. First job is to remove the front bumper. To get that off, there's two T30 bolts each side of the radiator, 2 bolts in the wheel arches, and a few bolts underneath for the under tray. And now that's out the way, I can start getting the crash bar unbolted. Now I'm removing the two lower support legs that unbolt from the subframe. They're held in with 3 bolts on each side, 2 underneath and 1 under the fog light. These have definitely never been removed before because getting them off was pretty tough.
Are we out? There we go.
And now the passenger side one's off, I can do the exact same thing on that driver's side. Undo the 2 bolts underneath, the one under the fog light, and then I can smack it out.
Number 2. The front bumper is now off, the crash bar is off, and the 2 chassis legs are off. And we're getting close to actually being able to get access to the alternator. Now, the next move is I've either got 2 options. I could take the radiator out and off and then move the condenser down to the side, and that way I'd get access to that alternator. But there is apparently a little trick you can do with these where you can kind of slide the front rad pack off the chassis legs, and to do it I've got these. These are 2 bolts that should, I hope, fit in this thread, and what my plan is to slide the rad pack onto them bolts. That way I don't have to undo and drain all the coolant, etc. So if this works, it'll be way easier, and then we should be able to gain access and change the alternator. So now they're in, I'm hoping I can just slide this far enough forward. Oh wait, unplug the horn. What are we stuck on, Georgia?
The wheel arch liner.
The wheel arch liner, correct.
Yeah.
Okay, the wheel arch is now disconnected from this rad pack. I've took the bolt out because I want to see how far I can kind of pivot it out without it snapping anything here, because once that comes off, look how much access we've got to that alternator now. Look here, it's just exploded. I wonder why. How weird, I've never ever seen anything like that happen. But yeah, could do with just something here to kind of hold this out the way, and we've got loads of access now to be able to get that off. So let me find something and then we could start getting the alternator off. I hope this works, but looking at all of that, I think it might need a few pulleys because it's not looking great, is it? Right, let's see. Just to find out if it is the alternator, I'm just going to cut the belt for now because we know that this needs another belt anyway, so it doesn't actually matter. I just want to take the alternator off and actually see. Okay, well that's answered the question. Look at the alternator. That's meant to spin. Oh my god, that's fully seized. Like that won't even. Okay, so that is the problem. That is why it's not turning over, or well, not starting. But I can now take this belt off. No, that's not actually. It just looks a lot worse than it is. But let's get this alternator off, because I've never ever seen an alternator seized like that. That's fully, like, completely not even moving. I didn't even know they could do that.
So now I know that it is the alternator that's stopping this car from actually starting, I can get it removed. And luckily, now we've taken all that front end off, it's a pretty easy job to get it unbolted. There's 2 bolts at the bottom, 1 bolt at the top, there's the earth connector at the side, and also the plug for the alternator, and then we can get it out.
And lastly, is the plug, which I can already tell is going to be a nightmare. Oh, there we go. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is one seized alternator. Look at that. So there's the old one, which quite literally does not turn for love nor money, and there's the new one. Do you know what? It's the first time I've ever changed an alternator on a car. I mean, I'm asking any mechanics in the comments, why do alternators seize like that? Would it have been from not moving? Would it have been from, I don't know, but it's out and we can get the new one in. and hopefully this car will start.
And like with everything that you take off a car, you've got to put it back together in the reverse order. So I'm going to refit the 3 bolts holding the alternator in place, and then I can plug it back into the wiring harness and also fit that negative ground terminal. Which only leaves me with one more thing to do to get this job done, and that's refit the belt.
Okay, that is the new alternator on. That looks nice, shiny and new. Now, the only tough part is getting the belt back on. As you can see down here, there is quite literally no room to work with at all. So we've got this big massive bar, and that basically is meant to hook round this top bolt here and then kind of wedge in down there, but we're not really having much luck by doing it. So instead of pulling it back and then putting the little locking pin in, I think it's best to get the belt on everything but the alternator, and then pull the tension, one person pull the tension back while I try and get the belt onto the alternator. If it goes wrong, it's going to really hurt, because it's freezing cold if it catches one of my fingers, but I think that's the best way of doing it. There's no way I'm going to be able to get this locking pin all the way down there. It's just virtually impossible. So yeah, let's try and get the belt on, and if we can, we should be able to start it.
That bar that I was talking about is actually a special tool designed specifically for this engine, and what it does is it locks in place on the side of the tensioner so you can pull it back and release any tension to get the new belt on. But with this one being a cheap tool off Amazon, it did keep slipping out of place, which made this job almost impossible, and I was at the point of giving up until I decided to shove a crowbar down the side where that bar mounts to the side of the tensioner, pull the crowbar one way while pulling the tensioner the other way, and eventually we were able to actually keep it in place without slipping off and just about get the belt on.
Let go.
Let go?
Yeah. We're on. It's on. It's actually on. I'm pretty sure that belt is on in the correct kind of orientation it needs to be. I've kind of felt the back crank pulley, and I'm pretty sure it's lined up and on nice and snug with that one. You literally can't see what you're doing around the back there, but I think I'm going to just quickly plug everything that I've unplugged back in and just start it and see what happens. That might have fixed it, or if it doesn't start now, then I'm going to be a little bit worried, but let's give it a go.
The last thing to do now until I can attempt to start this engine is refit that battery. But now I'm starting to think, this car's been off the road for over 3 years. If all it needed was an alternator, how come no one's done it in that time? If I start this engine now and it makes a catastrophic noise like a knock or a bang, or doesn't start at all, then I may have wasted £650 buying this car in the first place. But I guess there's only one way to find out, so I'm going to get the battery back on and just give it a go.
Right. Ready?
What?
That was about to start, no? What was that big backfire?
Why is it so loud?
Yes, with Lexi.
It's smoking.
Yes, it starts. What's smoking?
I think it...
Oh, that might be all the WD-40 I've sprayed. High five. It starts.
Thank God.
That I can see why it was parked up now. That's really loud. We're gonna have to get that sorted. Oh my God, it's alive.
I think it sounds quite good.
If it goes again, just to make sure. No warning lights either. Yes! Look, not even an engine light. That is so loud. What a result. I think I'd be lying if I said that I was actually expecting it to start up, but it does, at least we can now know that the engine does run, it does turn on, and hopefully eventually in the end it will be able to drive. But for now, I've got to get this thing back together. There's a few jobs that need taking care of on this car, but I'm just glad that the engine is running and it's not making any horrible noises, any rattles or anything that we wouldn't want. So I guess all I've got to do now is refit the two chassis legs, refit the crash bar. I've got to refit this condenser back up to the radiator, but I feel like the way we did that alternator was probably the nicest and easiest way. I've still got to just route this ground wire a little bit nicer and sort out where all this mess goes, but I'm just relieved that the engine is actually working. So let's get this thing back together.
I'm calling that one a success, so I'm going to get the front end back together. I'm quickly just refitting the ground wire that I took off earlier, and also refitting that fuel tank breather valve that I removed to get access to that tensioner. Now they're back on, I'm putting the two plastic clips back into the wheel arch and then start to fit the lower chassis mount legs, along with the crash bar and of course that front bumper. It's a lot quicker putting stuff back together when you know how it came apart. And that's the front end all back together, and this car is now working.
Well, there we go. The Mini is now back together, and at least it, well, should drive. But the question you all want to know is how much did I actually pay for this car? Although it is running, we have still got quite a few things to take care of with this. The headlights are all hazed and need sorting out. We need some number plates for it. There's an advisory on the last MOT for a number plate bulb, so we've got a few things to look around and sort out. But for now, I wanted to make sure that this car actually ran before I did any of them problems. So, how much did I pay? I think what I paid for this car makes it the cheapest supercharged R53 Mini in the country. At the moment, online, I can't find one cheaper. They might be by the time this video goes live, but right now, I think this was the cheapest because I only paid £650 for this car, and I know it was a non-runner, but now we've got it running, I definitely think we'll be able to make profit with this car. It just needs some serious love and some serious time spending on it, which is what we're going to do. But for now, it's running. It should technically drive, but we can't because it's got no MOT. And we can crack on with all of the next jobs. But that'll be in the next video. If you did enjoy this one, please remember to like, comment and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
You wear a hat, they call dad. Me, I'm the dad in a hat. You just like clubbing in clothes. Me, I like afternoon naps. 3, I be missed for the road. My oldest like counting racks. My middle one, she's in a dirt bike. My youngest is just like a mama. The mama loves me and I love her, so if she wants something, it's never a bother. 3 to the ladies, my babies, and 1 on